my god, I had a near-death experience. Spoiler alert, I survived. Hey y'all! Today I want to talk about Sapa and Ha Giang Loop tour, but did all together, because this is what I did and I want to tell you everything that happened to me, because maybe you might want to do the same, or maybe you might want to do something different. It depends on you. Let's dig into it. So I did some research and I decided to trust the Cheers Hostel agency, as they did seem to offer so many different tours that I decided that they're a big enough company that would do the tour well enough. So I wrote to them a few months before I went. So I got connected with a booking agent and he explained to me what they offer, and based on what I wanted to do as a tour, we managed to find a suitable solution. But they did offer longer versions of these, like the Sapa and the Ha Giang Loop. Like for example, they offered like 5-6 days of Sapa trekking and then doing the Ha Giang Loop, including you could do it for 4 days or 5, depending on what you want. But I felt like this is gonna be too much, and I wanted to do 2 days of trekking and then 3 days on bike, which is what I did. And the travel agent was kind enough to make an offer about that and send me a detailed explanation of how the trip would be, where we would go and the places we would pass by and what we would do. It was a very well-structured document and it had outlined everything. In this document, it did say that we would be sleeping in a VIP sleeper bus, a VIP van, accommodation in the local stay, which he didn't really ask us before that if we wanted the VIP option, which I think I would have opted out for, because the offer he gave us was pretty decent. It was $200 for 2 days of trekking and 3 days of bike, and everything was included, all of the transportation, the food, the accommodation, the activities, the gas, the driver, everything. So I wouldn't have to pay anything else, even for food, water, nothing. So I think that it was a really good deal, and I wasn't going to bargain about a cheaper price or maybe to cut off the VIP things from the list. I felt like if he put them there, that's fine. It's a pretty good offer. I'll take it. They only asked me to deposit $50 per person, so I can book the spots. Now let's dig into the details of the trip. So the arrangement was, we had to wait at 9 p.m. at the hostel, at the Cheers Hostel in Hanoi, for the bus to pick us up and drive us to Sapa. Now what they failed to mention was that a bus did pick us up from the Cheers Hostel in Hanoi, but it picked us up to drop us off at the actual bus point for recollections. The downside in the story was that once they dropped us off at this location to wait for the sleeper bus, the guy who was supposed to separate us into the sleeper buses did not speak any English, and I mean zero, like nada. Like he couldn't even pronounce our names. He couldn't read them from the list. What he was doing was showing his phone, and he would like ask you to look and find your name. And we did wait for about an hour at this location for the buses to arrive. And once they started arriving, he would once again show you the list and ask you to find your name, and then he would tell you which bus to go to. That's when the VIP bus comes. So I do recommend, if you're booking this trip, to book the VIP bus, because the VIP bus was really nice. You can see on the video and the pictures how it looks. It was a really cool bus. Basically, we did have a good night's sleep in this bus because it was comfortable. The not VIP bus had 3 rows of beds and then 3 stories high. So being on a bus, sleeping on the 3rd top bed, that looks so unstable. And it turns out it really was, because I spoke to the people who drove on this bus after that, and they said they couldn't really sleep a lot because they thought that they were just going to drop off. The bus was really shaky. They thought the driver was trying to kill them. Anyways, they did say that they didn't get a good night's sleep in those buses, and they weren't that comfortable. And mine even had a curtain, so the privacy, it's really appreciated when you're sleeping in a bus full of strangers, you know. So definitely recommend getting the VIP bus. After that, we arrived in Sapa at like 4:30 a.m. and we were told that we were gonna get the rest of the night sleep in the hostel. So they took us to that hostel, but it turns out the hostel was overbooked and we had to crash in the lobby, which I was like it wasn't very convenient to sleep in an armchair, and I'm happy that I managed to sleep like 6 hours in the bus because I didn't sleep at all in this armchair in the lobby. So since everyone was asleep in the lobby, you couldn't make any noise, I decided to go outside and just get some fresh air. And as you can see, everything was so serene. It was so beautiful. There was such peace and quiet. I felt like I could stay there for a few more days, but we only had 2. We had some breakfast in this hostel. Now our guide showed up at 7 something a.m. To pick us up from the hostel and start trekking throughout Sapa to the local villages. Something weird happened after we started walking through the city center. A few local women joined us on our trek, and it seemed like there was one woman for each person, like each traveling couple, because I was traveling with my mom, so there was one person for us. Now, I'm pretty sure that this was an arranged thing, but I just couldn't figure out why and how. And I felt like something smelled fishy, but I couldn't yet tell what it was. So these women were basically walking with us. They were entertaining us, telling us about the village's secrets, things that they make, and they were carrying these giant baskets on their back. They looked and were the size of dirty laundry baskets, and I wasn't sure why they were carrying those around with them, but we found out why. We stopped in a location to just relax and chill, and the women started taking off their baskets and started taking stuff out of them, and you could see those were handmade stuff made from them, like pillowcases, wallets, souvenirs, and they were implying some guilt, like, I helped you, now you help me buy this so I can feed my family, or something like that. For me, this was too much, and I hate being exploited as a tourist just because I'm not from around here. Overall, the trekking experience was really nice. I definitely recommend it. It was an interesting sort of getaway from the city if you're looking for a getaway break. We did see some really cool spots. We met some really nice people and enjoyed some peace and quiet, because as you know, Vietnam could be super frustrating and loud and constantly beeping. This was a really nice break from the city. The other added bonus of us having a VIP experience was that at the local stay, we had a private room with a stunning view. And the rest of the group got like a dorm room with just bunk beds, which is not bad as well, but ours was really nice and really comfortable. The overall trekking that we booked was 1.5 days, so we trekked the whole first day and half of the next one. And after lunch, we went back to Sapa. We had a few hours to kill, and we went down to the town center so we could just have a look around. We managed to take some really cool photos, very Instagrammable. So if you're looking for photos like this, make sure to go to this location. And after taking some really cool photos for Instagram, we got ourselves a taxi or tuk-tuk and we went back to the hostel so we could pick up our VIP again minivan. I'm sorry that I don't have any photos of it, but it was really cool. We drove all the way to the hostel where our Ha Giang Loop journey would begin. And at this point, I was so exhausted. I didn't take any videos, any photos. I just went straight to bed because I was absolutely passing out. After we had a really good night's sleep in the morning, early and bright, we had breakfast, and then we were assigned a driver. After you are assigned a driver, you're supposed to remember him and don't forget him, and always look for your driver because you're not allowed to switch. But luckily, every driver had a different helmet or a different sort of jumpsuit, jacket, or something on his bike. Like, everyone had something to differentiate themselves from the rest of the group, because you're supposed to find your driver easily. My driver was a 10-year-old boy, or at least he looked like one. Maybe he was 35 or 40, I don't know. But he looked like a 10-year-old boy. He was too short, too small, too thin. He inspired no sense of security in me. Ha Giang Loop was definitely an experience. We had so many different stops where we could take cool photos, just chill and relax. Local restaurants to eat, coffee shops, food stalls, local people's homes where they would show us their traditional ways of preparing some stuff. We did get on a boat tour as well shortly along the river, which was really nice. Overall, we stayed at really nice locations both nights, and it was very, very pleasant. Although the second night, the group decided to get wasted. It was our last night doing the Ha Giang Loop, and they serve you something like happy water over there, which is basically like grappa. In Italy, they drink grappa. In Eastern Europe, we drink raki. It was something like that. I didn't try it because I don't like this type of alcohol. My mom did. She said it wasn't that great. But everyone drank this. They were really loud. They were really drunk. Everyone was screaming, and I felt like I was in a party full with teenagers who were out for the first time, and their parents are nowhere to be found. You know, it was too loud for me, and or maybe really I was just too tired at this point. I don't know, because this was the fourth day of me just being on the road and traveling constantly, so it could have been just me being extremely exhausted. I can't tell. Overall, I definitely recommend doing the Ha Giang Loop. Here are the things that I didn't enjoy. Number 1, your ass is going to hurt for 3 days straight. But I think that's a given. Number 2, which is something I really didn't expect, the food is going to be the same. So prepare to be bored out of your mind from the food, because every day we ate the same thing. And the other minus is, as with every big group of people, you might meet a lot of superficial people or not your type of people. Basically people you don't like. But that's also a given, because as I said, any big group, it's expected. Oh my god, I had a near-death experience. Spoiler alert, I survived. So let me get to what happened. We were driving, and he was speeding quite a lot. And I could see that we are passing people from our group. But at some point, I don't know what happened, in his tiny little head of a 10-year-old boy, he started looking around, like left and right, and then to back, and just looking. And I could tell that he was looking for his guide, because each group had their own person that they were following. My driver didn't speak a word of English. He spoke okay, and that's it. No other word. I could tell that he was looking for our group and for his leader. And I tried to explain to him that everyone is behind us because we were driving faster than them, so we're ahead, right? But obviously he didn't speak any English, so he couldn't understand me. And at some point he just started driving really, really fast, and there was a slope with holes on the road. It was really, really bumpy. I felt like he was going 200 kilometers per hour, which is probably not the case, but this is what it felt to me. Like, we were going down a slope. It was very, very bumpy. The bike was going up and down, and my ass was doing the same. Obviously, like, it was... And there was this giant precipice next to the road. I felt so stressed, bearing in mind that I was constantly jumping up and down from the bike. I was holding on to dear life for the handles, who are located below my ass. Below the seat, there are 2 handles on the back of the bike, and I was holding on to them. And this is a very uncomfortable position to be in. I was in survival mode at this. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't tap him on the shoulder to ask him to slow down. I'm not even sure he would understand at this point. We managed to get to the next stop. The parking lot was full with bikes. Honestly, I couldn't believe I am back on Earth. And the driver started looking for the rest of the team. The rage was starting to bubble up. I felt so afraid for my life that I don't think I had been so afraid in my life before. Anyways, overall, the Ha Giang Loop was really worth it. I really enjoyed it, aside from this near-death experience that I had. And I would recommend it if you are into that sort of thing. It was nice. I hope you enjoyed my video and found it useful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, or if you have something to add as well. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!